Northwest Newsweek, and thanks for being with us. Tempers flared Monday night at a city council meeting in Dryden as the members of the public attended the session en masse to show their support for members of the volunteer fire department. The firefighters have been withholding service for 3 weeks now over a lack of trust with the city's fire chief. As Adam Riley reports, a situation many had feared actually occurred.
Both sides have taken this places that it should never have gone. How embarrassing for my community. My community. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for you all.
We're embarrassed for you.
Our community is not broken, it's shattered. We need to do something about this.
There are things that have been said on both sides that we need to get out in the public.
Tense moments at Dryden City Council Monday night as members of the public crammed into council chambers to show support and attempted to demand answers from council about the ongoing work stoppage by the city's volunteer firefighters. The issue stems back to changes in policy involving the Firefighters Association room at Hall 1. An incident inside the association room, along with other related interactions and inflammatory statements, has now blown into a full-on revolt against the fire chief and the city. Due to procedure, none of the residents were allowed to speak to council as they did not register as a delegation, but they managed to temporarily halt the meeting as a fire call was overheard from nearby Oxdrift.
There's a fire in Oxdrift, and they're calling for Hall 1.
And the doors are locked.
And the doors are locked. We need the doors open.
Somebody open it.
Even if those men wanted to get up and wanted to do their job, they're locked out and they can't do it.
That's no good.
That's part of what the whole problem is.
Members of Oxdrift's fire department did attend a call. Dryden Fire Chief Ryan Morrell confirmed to TBT News that a request for a tanker from Hall 2 was made and fulfilled, and at no time was the city's fire protection compromised. DFFA spokesperson Darren Trist calls the decision to change the locks ludicrous.
In all our closed-door meetings, we all said we'll monitor our pagers. And you know, something bad was to happen, a major fire at a business, a major fire at a hospital, you better believe that we were going to put the strike on hold for that night.
Councillor Roger Valley says administration made the decision to change the locks at the fire station, an action he didn't agree with. He says he is backing a motion by Councillor Mary Trist to hold a public town hall in the community.
Well, if council okays it next week, and I'm hopeful that they will, I would assume we can turn it around in a week or two. It's important. Time's flying by us, and as we hear, there's calls where our firefighters can't answer right now, and that's not fair to the people that live in Dryden, the people that live around Dryden that count on us, and the traveling public. We need to protect those people.
Valley also introduced a motion to lease the room to the firefighters as an act of good faith, but Councillor John Carlucci would not second the motion. Only 4 councillors were in attendance Monday night. Valley hopes those missing from the meeting will attend next week. Adam Riley, TBT News.
And after Monday's council meeting there, we spoke with residents to get their thoughts on the overall firefighter situation and their reaction to the steps the city has taken so far.
Common sense would say to me that if you're really serious about being conciliatory, one side says sorry for what I've done and to offend you. The other side says sorry for what I've done to offend you. Let's start fresh. They had that opportunity to start that right here tonight. They did not allow that to happen. That's disgusting.
A great turnout by people supporting the firefighters. Very disappointed in council that they would not listen. And what we're... With everything that's happened, these guys were still ready to jump for a house fire tonight. They were told no. Why will not council do something about it?
Oh, I'm very upset in the fact that things became adversarial and confrontational. To me, things should be more discussion, more open one to another, and good talk back and forth before it gets this bad. I don't know how it got this bad.
Staying in Dryden, charges have now been laid in connection with an attempted bank robbery. It happened Monday afternoon when a man armed with a knife and with his face covered entered the Bank of Montreal branch and demanded cash. He departed a short time later without receiving any money. Bank officials were quickly able to provide video of the incident, and a suspect was later picked up by Dryden police officers. A 31-year-old Dieppe, New Brunswick man has been charged with robbery with a weapon and wearing a disguise. He remains in custody in Kenora, awaiting a bail hearing. One of Ontario's police watchdogs is asking for witnesses in the Kenora area to come forward after a man died following repeated interactions with police. On February 27th, the 29-year-old man was arrested and spent the day in an OPP detention cell and was then released. He was rearrested the next day, lodged in a cell, and released after several hours. 5 days later, EMS and police were called to the man's residence in Washigama Bay to find him in medical distress. He was taken to hospital and was pronounced dead a short time later. The Special Investigations Unit has assigned 4 people to the case. There were funding announcements all over the region from the Wynne government this week. Thunder Bay Superior North MPP Michael Gravel was in several communities along the North Shore to announce FedNor support for several tourism-related initiatives. Corey Nordstrom reports.
MPP Michael Gravel was in Terrace Bay to deliver some long-awaited good news for the community. In his role as head of the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund, Gravel announced a $1.5 million investment to the town's waterfront. That money will be directed towards a new multi-use center, bringing hydro to the town's beach area and improving the boat launches. After nearly 40 years of trying to revitalize the community's shoreline, Mayor Jody Davis was excited over the news of the funding.
It feels absolutely wonderful. This is a project that Terrace Bay has been working on for many, many years. We've had several studies, and now it's finally coming to fruition.
Work on the waterfront improvements is tentatively scheduled to begin in 2018, but no concrete dates are available right now. Gravel was also in Scriber today, doling out more funding for a couple of major projects.
One of the things that we're helping fund is a railway interpretive museum, a discovery center, as it's called. That will be part of the $2.1 million that we were awarding to Scriber today through the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. There'll also be increased signage and other aspects of the downtown that will be vastly improved.
Through the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, Gravel also announced just over $1 million to Scriber's Clearwell project to ensure all in the community have clean drinking water. It's no surprise that being on Lake Superior is a huge draw to the area. Minister Gravel hopes that with the investments handed out, that more will see the hidden beauties of the North Shore. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
While Red Rock continues to work on a solution for its aging sewage treatment plant, the municipality is now working on efforts to fix up the bridge infrastructure in that community. To enter the community, travelers must cross this bridge, which, according to Mayor Gary Nelson, only needs $26,000 in upkeep. However, there are several Bailey-type bridges that connect some residents to the main highway, which are also in need of repairs. Nelson says the worst requires close to $92,000 in repairs, and it shows. Fortunately, he says the town has found a way to keep those costs down.
Work to be done on the bridge that the consultants have told us need to be doing. Our boys here can do quite a bit of it. We only have 3 or 4 men in our public works department, but they will get around to doing a lot of the work, like removing beaver dams and the vegetation, putting up signs, reinstalling handrails and stuff like that. They can do that, so that'll save us quite a bit of money there.
Nelson says several consultants from JML Engineering will be making a presentation to Council on March 19th to give a full evaluation of the work that needs to be done. He adds, while the town may not be able to afford all of the repairs this year, they will be completed as funds become available. Meantime, the failing bridge leading to Wilmette Canyon is finally getting a much-needed replacement thanks to a funding announcement in Dorion on Monday. MPP Michael Gravel announced up to $1.3 million to replace the bridge from the province's Community Infrastructure Fund. Dorion Township is one of 78 Ontario communities receiving a share of $100 million this year for local infrastructure projects. Carlisle Facette has more.
I am very pleased and very excited to be here today in Dorion to announce that the critical upgrades to replace the Wilmette Canyon Road Bridge over Coldwater Creek.
An announcement years in the making. Finally, the community of Dorion can rest easy knowing their aging and deteriorating Wilmette Canyon Road Bridge will be replaced. The $1.3 million price tag for the project will be covered entirely by funding from the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. The township had made an unsuccessful bid to replace the bridge through that fund last year, and MPP Michael Gravel says it was critical to secure those dollars this time around.
This project is huge, and because of the impact it has on so many aspects of the community, I just kept making the case that indeed the funding needed to be approved, and indeed this year it was, and
I couldn't be happier.
The bridge has been operating with a load restriction for the last 6 years, and Dorian Reeve, Ed Chambers, says if it had to be shut down, local businesses would suffer.
Yes, I have had people come to me that operate businesses and so forth, saying that if that bridge has to be shut down, it would pretty well destroy their business.
John Lorenowicz is an engineer who has been monitoring the bridge's deterioration. He says it was almost unusable as early as 5 years ago.
The piers that hold one of the spans up were leaning significantly. So when we did some analysis on the leaning piers, we noticed that there wasn't much capacity left to hold the bridge up.
Tourists will still be able to access Ouimet Canyon and Eagle Canyon this summer using back roads as a detour. Chambers says Dorian's tourism sector will be one of the biggest beneficiaries when the project is completed, as well as the area's emergency service providers.
In terms of safety, it'll be a lot better because fire trucks, paramedics, and so forth will be able to get across that bridge.
As far as the timeline for completing the project, Lorenowicz says the plan is to have a contractor on board by mid-June, with construction being completed by the end of August. That would leave cleanup for the month of September, and the new bridge would be operational by October. Carl Alfazet, TBT News.
And it's a costly investment to maintain road infrastructure in the Dorian area, but one that will benefit residents for a long time. In a January report from administration, Dorian Council heard its grader, which has served the community for 25 years, would require extensive maintenance to keep operating. Repairs were estimated to cost upwards of $20,000 as well. Replacement parts are no longer available. It was that factor, according to Dorian Reeve Ed Chambers, that convinced Council to opt for the purchase of a newer, slightly used replacement instead of extending the life of the vehicle.
Well, we purchased a second-hand grader for our community. It's not that old, it's in excellent shape, and it's going to replace the old-timer that's been around for over 25 years. And that old grader served its purpose, but it's time to move on, and we've got an excellent grader as an asset now in our community.
Chambers says the old grader will now be declared surplus and will be advertising it as per the community's surplus disposal policy. Well, coming up after the break, law enforcement officials are out looking for distracted drivers. Stay with us. The Ontario Provincial Police are out in full force this March break, looking for drivers using their cell phones. The distracted driving blitz started Monday on highways across the province, including the ones here in Thunder Bay and the surrounding region. TBT's Jason Guidola got to ride along with an OPP officer last week to find out how they catch someone in the act.
There's a guy on his phone there.
This is one of the OPP's most experienced traffic enforcers. 15-year veteran Constable Kevin Green patrols the Thunder Bay highways for all types of driving infractions. The most common one he encounters is inattentive or distracted driving.
Distracted driving is basically anyone that's operating a motor vehicle on the travel portion of the roadway, and all you have to do is basically pick up the phone. If you're holding the phone in your hand, it's considered distracted driving.
From answering a call, a simple text, or even using a GPS are considered an offense. Green says holding out your phone while in speaker mode or car weaving on the road are common signs. Sometimes it comes much easier than that.
Every stoplight you get to, people are up and down, looking at their phones, and then the light turns green for traffic to go and they just sit there.
Such a simple act carries huge repercussions. A distracted driving conviction is a $490 fine with 3 demerit points. Traffic Sergeant Chris Lawrence says other penalties can follow also.
And I think the other thing to consider too is that if there's other circumstances involved surrounding the distracted driving, we could look at charges like careless or dangerous driving. Careless driving is also a Highway Traffic Act offense, but dangerous driving is a criminal code offense, which carries with it jail time upon conviction as a possibility. It's something that can wait. There's no message that you can't wait 15 or 20 minutes for. Pull over to a parking lot, take a look at your cell phone then. There's no reason to put your life and other lives in jeopardy while you're driving.
2017 was the 5th straight year that inattentive driving had caused the most road fatalities in the province over the likes of speed and alcohol-related deaths. The Thunder Bay region alone saw 6 of those 83 deaths last year and 4 from 2016. Jason Guidola, TBT News.
And as the province's PC leadership race winds down, the race to be party's candidate in Thunder Bay Atikokan is gearing up. Former federal candidate Mo Kamuzi has announced that she'll be seeking the PC nomination in that riding. This will be the 3rd time Kamuzi has sought a seat in the region. Kamuzi previously ran for the Federal Conservative Party in the 2011 and 2015 elections, finishing 2nd and 3rd. Kamuzi says she learned a lot from her previous campaigns and adds that her experience as a business owner makes her well suited to serve at Queen's Park. She says her priority is bringing jobs back to the Northwest, jobs she says left due to the Ontario Liberal Party.
Kathleen Wynne has to go. She has taken Ontario to a have-not province, and we've lost mining jobs that have gone to Quebec because of the red tape and the bureaucracy. We need to bring those jobs home, and Kathleen Wynne has done everything to close the doors to any business opportunities.
Local Riding Association President Brandon Posthuma is the other declared candidate for the Tory ballot in Thunder Bay Atikokan. It's not clear when the PC nomination meeting will be, but the provincial election will happen on June 7th. Well, another quick break, but coming up next, residents from Ontario's far north lace up their skates for the 33rd annual Northern Bands Hockey Tournament. Well, it's been less than a month since the city of Dryden was flooded with hockey players and fans from out of town for the Lil Bands hockey tournament. This week, the Northern Bands tournament has returned to the community, bringing with it the thrill of hard-fought victories on ice and an injection of money into the economy. Adam Riley has more.
The pucks are dropping at the Dryden Memorial Arena as teams from Northern First Nations have descended once again for the 33rd annual Northern Bands hockey tournament. Organizer Toinette Kakapetum says over the years the tournament has grown extensively, starting with just 8 teams. And for the past few years, the tournament has been a sold-out event with 40 teams enrolled.
Mostly like in the Tikanagan and Sulakal area. They're all isolated communities, and it just gives them a chance to come out and play hockey with their peers. That's one of our requirements, is that you have to be a band member of that community.
Kakapetum says there is always a waiting list for teams, as every year the tournament fills up quick. Just a few short weeks ago, residents from some of the same communities were in town for the Little Bands hockey tournament, which saw over 60 teams play. According to Kakapetum, there has been talk over allowing more teams, but says there are some logistical hurdles that need to be overcome. What would need to be done, I guess, for you guys to be able to accommodate more teams?
We probably need a third arena. We did talk about it, like we're using a surrounding arena, but right now we're kind of at our max with 40. Maybe in the later years we might, look at expanding it.
And while players and fans enjoy the amenities of the city, businesses in the community are also reaping the benefits of the tournament. Dryden's Tourism and Community Initiatives Manager, Nicole Gale, says it's estimated over $1 million will be pumped into the local economy.
It's a revenue opportunity for them. It's an ability for them to do some marketing locally, and do something that's very cost effective for them, to be able to promote different goods and services that are offered in Dryden.
Gale says things are changing in the community as several new businesses have opened up recently that could get the attention of attendees. The tournament wraps up this weekend. Adam Riley, TBT News.
And the medals and the storylines involving Northwestern Ontario athletes just keep coming at the 2018 Ski Nationals. On day 4 of the competition at the Lappy Nordic Centre, it was Kenora's Liesl Compton earning her first national title. Ryan Benazzo has more.
Kenora's Liesl Compton started 17 seconds back of junior women's leader Hannah Mehane of BC, who was the winner of Sunday's Classic race, which acts as the first leg of the overall pursuit. But Compton's 10-kilometer free time of 29 minutes 33 seconds propelled her to her first ever national gold.
About halfway through the first lap, I was able to get my eyes on Hannah and slowly close the gap. So, yeah, I was pretty excited once I was behind her and was keeping with her pace. I've never been first place at nationals, so it's just a feeling I've never experienced, and I'm super excited and happy to share it with my teammates and my family and everyone who's here.
Ryan Benazzo, TBT Sports.
Many schools across the Northwest are beginning to or are already showing signs of age. In some areas, increasing population and infrastructure issues require more than a simple Band-Aid solution. To tackle those problems, the Keewatin-Patricia District School Board is engaging in several high-caliber projects across its district. One of those projects is Valley View Public School in Kenora. Adam Riley has details.
It's been around since the 1960s, but now the Keewatin-Patricia District School Board is looking to replace Valley View School in Kenora with a brand new facility geared towards 21st century learning. Director of Education Sean Monteith says the school has outlived its purpose.
The school behind us is built for 165 pupils, but currently housing in excess of 340 pupils. We have a portable complex below us of about 8 portables, including a 4-plex. The school is simply past its best before date.
To show confidence in the project, the board will be putting up $4 million of its own money to fund the new building, which according to Monteith will cover a quarter of the build, with the remaining funds coming from the province. However, Monteith says one thing the board has to be cognizant of is how they proceed with the Valley View project, as the area around the school has a dark past.
Valley View Public School was originally built in the 1960 era as part of a residential schooling experience. The property behind Valley View isn't actually owned by the board. It's owned by Grand Council Treaty 3 and Indigenous Northern Affairs Canada. The former residential school, Cecilia Jeffries, is just across the street.
Valley View is one of 3 capital projects in the works right now. Last year, the construction of the new Sioux North High School began in Sioux Lookout to replace Queen Elizabeth High School. That project is slated to be completed for this fall.
The next capital priority is a complete refurbishing and rebuilding of Ear Falls Public School, which was constructed in 1970. And then Valley View is part of a 10-year long-term capital plan that the board just approved last year. So this isn't just kind of out of left field. The Valley View need has been identified as a major capital priority. The top 2 have been taken care of. Valley View is next on deck.
However, no date has been set for when demolition and construction at Valley View will begin. Adam Riley, TBT News.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Northwest Newsweek. I'm Leanne Evans. Thanks for being with us, and be sure to tune in next time.